All right, welcome back everyone. This is Josh Wallet. We're taking a look at the market machine. This is the demo version. A lot of people requested for a long time a demo version for the market machine so they could sort of try before they buy. And we just got done with the first demo video. If you didn't watch that, I would encourage you to take a look at that. It's about 20 minutes long, and it really takes a look at all of the market analysis and market analytics and graphs and charts and all that robust analysis and how you can almost automatically incorporate those into your reports in terms of sentence starters, narrative, and analysis starters, where you can use some of the information from the market machine, attach it or paste it into your report, and then you can sum up what you're seeing in those charts and graphs and statistical sentences, rather than inventing it all yourself and crunching the numbers and calculating the numbers all yourself. We just got done taking a look at the resale identification, which is a really great tool for taking a look and trying to find duplicate sales of the same property. So you can see whether a particular market or the segment that you have filtered it down to is increasing, decreasing, showing stability. And it can also be a great place to find support for condition adjustments, because you can see that sometimes they're being sold as HUD and then they're being resold as a flip, but sometimes you can just find that someone purchased a property arm's length, they changed some things about it, and then it resold. And so you can actually take a look and substantiate some condition adjustments by paired sales with this tool. So take a look at that. But let's move on to the regression tab. A lot of the time when people think of market machine, and I'm going to remove one real quickly, when they look at the market machine or talk about it or think about it, they think, oh, it's that regression tool. And it's true, it has a regression model tool in it, but it also has all of that market analysis tool that we looked at in part one. But let's go ahead and see, we have some preset variables. You can remove all of these. You can add them all back in manually if you want. I like to keep some standard ones in, and if we press save, just like in any Excel spreadsheet or any other file, this is what it's going to open with next time. Okay, so we don't have to reload the variables each time, but you can use the gray remove variable if I wanted to remove this one, like acres. Okay, but I'm going to leave these all in. So I have a square footage variable, acres, age, garage bays. This is why it's nice when you're exporting your data from your MLS, which is what the market machine is going to use. It's using your own local market MLS data that you have exported yourself. It's nice to include information that you can use to filter your data with, and also data that you're going to use in a regression model. So here's garage bay, whether it's sold REO or HUD, and whether or not it's sold as a short sale, and then days past sale. So as you go back in time, how is the sale price changing? Is it statistically supported that it's changing or not? Once I have the variables I want, I'm going to press Run Regression, okay? Just right up here, here's the button, Run Regression. You can see our squared value is 82%. Now I'm not going to go through what all this means. You'll remember that there's a sort of a quick reference cheat sheet. If we go all the way back to Regression Help tab at the bottom of the screen, we can remember it's going to kind of give us a real quick reference and a real quick summary of what these parts are saying. What do these parts mean? Okay, but this isn't a regression class, so I'm not going to go into great detail. I'm just going to show you how this works. So we have the R squared, we have the p-values, lower and upper ranges. Here's it's based on the confidence level of 90%. You can change that. Let's go ahead. I want to show you how to add a variable. Okay, I'm going to actually take out the square footage variable by clicking on that line and then clicking Remove Variable. It's gone. And we can see if we run the regression, it's much, much lower R squared. That makes sense, doesn't it? Because in most markets that most of us work in, square footage, finished square footage, is probably a very important driver in the market in terms of sale prices. So let's go ahead and add it back in just so we can see how to use it. We're going to click Add Variables. Brought it on my other monitor. I'm going to just drag it over. I'm going to choose the variable from my MLS. That makes sense. I use the total approximate square footage. I'm just going to call it a real easy name, SF, square footage, and I'm going to add that value, that number type variable. And it adds it in, and when I run the regression, it should give me that same R squared we had before. It does. So it basically calculated the same regression model, same numbers. It's just the variables happen to be laid out in a different order here. Let's add one more. I want to show you the power of being able to build your own regression model. You're the market expert in your local market, and you can actually add any variables that you can export from your MLS. Of course, you need to know what you're doing, right? Don't just add anything, but if you believe it is having an impact on sales prices, maybe it makes sense to. So here I sometimes add subdivision name when I know that certain subdivisions in certain market areas have their own superior or inferior market appeal. Different values take place in there. Maybe they sell for higher or lower. It can be due to a variety of reasons. But let's go ahead and add in what are called dummy variables. These are where we are actually looking at word or text variables, and we're going to add them in. It's basically saying it's a yes or no variable, okay? And I'm going to add in all of the Chatfield subdivisions because Chatfield subdivisions in the southeast Grand Junction area tend to have some upgrades. They tend to have stucco. They tend to have more interesting architecture and a higher quality of construction than most other subdivisions in the southeast Grand Junction area. So I'm naming it Chatfields as my variable. I, of course, chose which column I'm looking in my data. I'm saying it's a dummy variable, and these are the ones that I want to count as the sort of yes variable. If you're not sure what a dummy variable is, you do want to learn regression. Okay, again, this isn't teaching regression. Add the variable in. You can see it added the variable line. And all these values, they need to be recalculated. Let's run the regression. You can see it increased it slightly. And here it's coming to some conclusions for us in terms of the value associated or how being in Chatfield subdivisions affects sales prices. Okay, so it's a really quick demonstration. You can fiddle around with this. Again, this is demonstration data. You can't load your own into this demonstration market machine, but obviously in your own that is mapped and customized for you, for your own MLS, you would be loading in your own data. Okay, you can use now what's called the prediction tab. Okay, you can use the prediction tab on the subject property. I'm going to click it now. You can use it on comps to see really how good is this model in predicting sales prices. So you can test it on each of your comps if you want, and you can also use it on your subject. So I'm going to say I have an 1,800 square foot property. It's 12 years old. It has a 2-car garage bay. It did not sell as REO or HUD or short sale. We want the current value, so we don't want any days past sale value in there. Whoops, and I mistyped this. It's 0.21 acres. The first line was the acres, not the square footage. That was my mistake, typing that in. 1,800 square feet, and it did not sell in any of the Chatfield filings. So you can see here is the forecast or the prediction for that particular property we just typed in. If we were doing it on a comp that sold 4 months ago, we might estimate that it's sold approximately 120 days ago, or how many ever days is appropriate for it. We'll type that in and we'll say, okay, this is the forecast for that comp. And then we take this 202 or 2019 and we say, well, what did it really sell for? Okay, this model is reliable. Or we look at it and we say, wow, this didn't predict the comp sale price at all. And it didn't predict any of the comps I'm using. at all. So this is not a good model to use. So you can test your model in this way, and then you can increase the reliability by sometimes not using the regression data. Okay, so we should never, of course, look at regression as sort of something we just blindly obey. We need to test it. Okay, then we can go to this last tab, which is the print tab. Okay, we can choose which components we want from all of the items we've looked at in both of the demonstration videos, and we can then click Save Report. And I'm going to click all of them. Remember, we could use the market machine. We looked in the first version, or in the first video, of how we could actually take data and populate fields right into our appraisal software. This is a way of printing to PDF, and we can attach these PDFs, either all of the pages or 1 or 2 or 6 or 3 of the pages, as actual exhibits in our report. So we can refer to it. We can say, this has increased, this has decreased, see attachment. And it's really going to save on some of our typing and narrative, because we can spend more time summarizing rather than typing all of the statistics out. Okay, I can name it anything I want. It is going to save this PDF document wherever you opened up your market machine from. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, let's just click OK. What it's going to do is it's going to generate the PDF now. And it just takes just a minute. It's going to come up with this publishing box, and we're going to then have it pop up the PDF so we can actually review it right when it develops it. I'm going to show you where it's saving information that will help you for your work file too. It saved it on the other screen here, so we'll take a look at it. And you can see this is all of the information we looked at in part 1 and 2 of the demo. Okay? All of these pages. You might include 1 or 2 or all of the pages. I wouldn't recommend including all of the pages. That usually is overwhelming and could be, in some cases, misleading to your user. But that's how you print it. Now, let me show you where it saved it. You can see this is where we opened the market machine in part 1 video. And here's what we just looked at. There's the PDF we just looked at. And here is all of the data that we filtered out. So you now have an Excel file that is compliant for USPAP work file requirements. You have all of the data. If someone questions the charts and the graphs, you can then recreate it by going into this and saying, well, this is the data that was used to generate all these charts and graphs. So you are USPAP compliant, and that's really important to me in terms of a compliance standpoint. Just about done. We've really gone through the whole process. It's taken several videos to demonstrate this, but let me tell you, when you use this, you're going to be able to generate some really robust analytics, really get some good sentence starters and statistical statements that you can use in your reports that can get you started in summarizing what's going on in a market. About 2, 3, 4 minutes when you really understand what you're doing in this market machine. It's going to add so much information into your reports so you don't have to spend all this time crunching your own numbers. Let me show you and remind you what we did. We had over 6,800 entries from our MLS data. We filtered it by property type, the construction type, that it wasn't a rented lot, that was real estate included, and the southeast area in this case. If I wanted to run a report on the segmented market, or the MC, or comparable data, all I would need to do is add some filters, right? So I could say I want it between 1,000 and 1,500 square feet. I want the acres on less than 0.3 acres. I want the year built to be between 2000 and 2015. Okay, now I have 182 entries, and I can then go back and just move that filtered data into the reports. Just like we did in part 1, but I've chosen a different market to study, right? Now it's not just the entire Southeast Grand Junction area. Now it's a bit more filtered. We're looking at a specific segment for my MC analysis, okay? And since I pushed it through using this button, I said use that data basically. Now all of this has changed. Okay, your MC looks different. Looks like maybe this segment is somewhat stable. We'd have to look at more to really know that. Okay, here's all the different charts, and it has updated everything based on this different segment. Okay, there's the summary page where we have the text information that we can populate our software with, and we can fill in the resales. We can rework our regression. We can rework our prediction and so on, and then we can reprint and have a new set of studies. In some cases, the more filtered study is going to be more valuable to you. In other cases, in other markets, maybe it's more valuable to look at the entire market area like we did through most of this demo. It's up to you. And remember, you always have information as far as videos go for demonstrating the market machine, and we also have the regression tips here. I really want to thank everyone for watching these demo videos. Take a look on YouTube for other market machine videos. So if you're watching this one on YouTube right now, take a look at the same channel and same playlist. It's the Market Machine playlist, and you're going to see other videos that are a little bit shorter that show just all the bits and pieces of how to use the different tabs and pages in the Market Machine. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to email me. You can take a look on that PDF that generates when we took a look at that to find my email, or you can take a look right now at this screen, joshua@activeappraiser.com. So I'm just an email away if you have any questions. Thanks so much.